Welcome to the Comprehensive Hospital Guidelines training video. This presentation will provide essential information on operating within the critical care unit, understanding safety protocols, and implementing effective infection control measures. Importance of teamwork in critical care unit 1. Complex patient needs 2. Effective communication 3. Multidisciplinary approach. Intensive care unit rounds. During ICU rounds, nurses must use the Consultant Instruction and Intervention (CII) form to accurately document and carry out physician instructions. Anticipate and prepare for any procedures to be done at the bedside. Keep the patient's file updated with relevant reports and details of patient's status. Identify the consultant. Use English as a means of communication and follow professional etiquettes. Communicate any special unnatural observation or complaints of the patient or relative. Accompany the consultant along with the patient file and CII form. Note down the doctor's instruction parallelly in the CII form. In case of any doubts, clarify with the doctor during rounds itself. Carry out written orders in time and document the same. Do follow guidelines strictly during rounds. Don't avoid rounds or forget to update patient files. Fall prevention. A fall is defined as an event which results in a person to rest accidentally on the ground or floor or other lower level. Purpose: to identify the vulnerable groups of patients admitted in the hospital on the basis of their condition, diagnosis, situation or location. Reduce the risk of patient harm from falls. To create awareness about vulnerability amongst staff. Provide safe and secure environment for such patients. All ICU patients are vulnerable patients. Nursing responsibilities, AFRAT form charting, safety first program, frequent assessments and documentation in care plan, side rails are kept raised, rooms are kept well lightened, patients are not left unattended, bed is kept locked, patient and family education on fall prevention, safety rounds. Safety belts are used while transporting patient. Interdisciplinary team rounds. Any untoward incident are reported immediately. Post-fall management. Raise an incident form. Following form should reach the director's nursing office by 24 hours. 1. Patient incident form. 2. Quality variance form. 3. Incident report, filled by charge nurse supervisor. 4. Explanation letter by concerned staff, post-error training for the departmental staff and central briefing for all staff, post-fall huddle meet that involves all relevant stakeholders for RC and SIP. Do's. 1. Do self-reporting of incidences of fall. 2. Do frequent safety rounds. 3. Use safety measures while transporting. Don'ts. 1. Do not leave patient unattended. 2. Do not forget to give PFE while change of attendants. 3. Do not forget to put vulnerable bands. Infection control measures in critical care unit. The ICU, intensive care unit, poses unique challenges regarding infection risks due to several factors that increase the vulnerability of patients to infections. Here are the key reasons why infection risk is heightened in ICUs. 1. Severity of illness, patient condition. ICU patients are often critically ill and have compromised immune systems due to underlying conditions, surgery, or trauma. This makes them more susceptible to infections. 2. Invasive procedures, devices. Patients in the ICU frequently require invasive devices such as central venous catheters, urinary catheters, endotracheal tubes, for mechanical ventilation, and surgical wounds. These devices provide potential entry points for pathogens. 3. Prolonged hospitalization, length of stay. ICU patients often stay for extended periods, increasing their exposure to healthcare-associated pathogens and the risk of acquiring infections during their hospitalization. 4. Antibiotic use, broad-spectrum antibiotics. Critically ill patients may receive broad-spectrum antibiotics empirically, which can alter normal flora and promote the growth of resistant organisms, leading to healthcare-associated infections. 5. immunocompromised patients, underlying conditions, patients with conditions such as cancer, HIV/AIDS, or undergoing immunosuppressive therapy are particularly vulnerable to infections in the ICU setting. 6. Multidrug-resistant organisms, MDROs. Resistant pathogens. ICUs may have higher rates of MDROs such as methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA, vancomycin-resistant Enterococci, VRE, and multidrug-resistant gram-negative bacteria due to frequent antibiotic use and patient-to-patient transmission. 7. Cross-transmission, close proximity. ICU patients often share common areas and may be in close contact with each other, facilitating the spread of infections if proper infection control measures are not strictly followed. Common infections in ICU, ventilator-associated pneumonia, central line-associated bloodstream infections, catheter-associated urinary tract infections, surgical site infections. Infection control measures in ICUs, hand washing with soap and water for at least 40 to 60 seconds, making sure not to use clean hands to turn off the faucet, must be performed if hands are visibly soiled after using the restroom, or if potential exposure to spore-forming organisms. Hand rubbing with alcohol applied generously to cover hands completely should be performed and hands rubbed until dry. Some hand hygiene protocols are mentioned below. Personal protective equipment, PPE, use of gloves, gowns, masks, and eye protection as appropriate, environmental cleaning, regular disinfection of patient rooms and equipment, device care, proper insertion and maintenance of invasive devices following aseptic techniques, antibiotic stewardship, rational use of antibiotics to prevent resistance and reduce the incidence of HAIs, isolation precautions, implementing standard precautions and additional precautions, example, contact, droplet, airborne, based on the suspected or confirmed infectious agent. Isolation categories. Isolation categories are majorly of two types. 1. Strict isolation, airborne droplet. 2. Reverse or protective isolation. Isolation rooms, positive isolation. Air pressure in the room under positive pressure is higher than outside, so contaminants, particles, viruses, bacteria are kept out. Check the identity of the patient using two identifiers. Check the doctor's order for admitting in isolation room. If the patient needs to be isolated, explain the need for isolation to patient and relatives. Follow all the admission protocols. The isolation room door should be closed except when patient or personnel enter or exit the room. The number of persons visiting the patient should be minimal. All personnel entering the room should wear PPE like sterile gown, cap, mask and shoe cover, goggles if required. Strict hand hygiene should be maintained at all times. All PPE should be used as single use. Keep all bins in anteroom, if there, or near to exit or outside the patient's room. The positive pressure is maintained at all times. Monitor and document reading every 12 hours. In case of malfunctioning or alarm, inform to the engineering department. Negative isolation. Air pressure in the room under negative pressure is lesser than outside, so contaminants, particles, viruses, bacteria from the room does not go out. Check the identity of the patient using two identifiers. Check the doctor's order for admitting in isolation room. Follow all the admission protocols. All personnel entering the room should wear PPE like sterile gown, cap, N95 mask, gloves, sterile unsterile as per requirement, and shoe cover, goggles if required. Strict hand hygiene should be maintained at all times. All PPE should be used as single use. The negative pressure is maintained at all times. Monitor and document reading every 12 hours. In case of malfunctioning or alarm, inform to the engineering department. Thank you.